Morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Tuesday, June 16th, 2026. Good morning to all that share in World Champions. I hope that you're safe and healthy. I hope that your family is safe and healthy and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the area of health, along with first responders doing their best every day to save lives. Those also that pick up garbage, keep our places clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women that are out here trying to help, rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children victims of child molestation and pedophilia, helping those that are victims of prostitution, child prostitution, pornography, child pornography, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators, profiteers, and those perverts that create demands that cause these industries to exist. Finally, double blessings on the homeless. More than 700,000 men, women, children, families, senior citizens, military veterans, homeless in the United States of America. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. So I've been hearing a lot, as I knew I would, about can the Knicks repeat? Of course they can. And many people are bringing up, this is the thing a lot of people don't do. What they don't do is think before they speak. And then there's a lot of people that try to bring corrections to me before they actually know what the correction should be because they just want to watch themselves be heard. But the truth is, what you must understand is when Leon Rose traded for Karl Anthony Towns 2 years ago, they already knew they had a 4-year window. They already knew that. Okay? So what they did since then, since trading for Karl Anthony Towns, they would add a piece here and there, ancillary piece like a Jose Alvarado. They would add an ancillary piece like a late draft pick, a Diawara or a Hoop Porty. But the core of what they had for a championship team was already set. And it was set for 4 seasons. Many people are not getting that, and everybody's acting surprised that what are they going to do about Mitchell Robinson? You didn't think they knew Mitchell Robinson was going to be up now? They used the 2 seasons so far to see how best to utilize Mitchell Robinson, which we found this past season. The first season, he really didn't miss a lot of games to injury, I think, almost in his whole career. And that formula worked, as we saw in the playoffs, as only problem we had with Mitch was the hack of Mitch, and even that, Coach Brown was able to work around that to utilize Mitch Rob to the highest level. They also wanted to see what they were going to get out of people like Mikal Bridges and OG. And so the first year of Cat, again, the Knicks went to the conference finals and losing 6 games to the Indiana Pacers. So we knew what we had, we knew what we could do, and we knew we had Jalen Brunson. So it took Coach Brown about half a season to not only figure out what he wanted to do between Brunson and Cat, but how to best utilize Cat, which we talked about back in January. He was making it way too complicated. And since he started giving Cat the ball and letting Cat be the point center, the Knicks have been rolling. And that started the juggernaut, both sides of the ball. The thing is, we used to complain about Cat's defense, but Cat's defense, as you have seen, goes up several notches when he's involved offensively. Just like we talked about Mikal Bridges, people were complaining about his production as if the Knicks traded for him to be a 25-point-a-game scorer. They traded for him to be the road runner that he is. And that's what he has been, and it resulted in the chip. Not only did the Knicks have the 3 Villanova players, which is Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson, of course, and Josh Hart, but that familiarity that they have with each other, that helps get wins. Not only that, but the familiarity that the Knicks have now with each other, having won a chip together, makes them better. And that's why it's so important for people to realize that 2 years ago, the Knicks was planning on being in this position. And I mentioned this several times over the course of time, but because of all the stupid noise out here, people lose their minds and don't think straight. You think they didn't know that they were going to have to pay Mitch or Deuce? They knew this was coming. Okay? The only thing I don't think they planned for, which is not a big deal, is Landry Shamet. Landry Shamet, who even in the last year under Tibbs showed a lot of promise as a shooter off the bench. And really what I didn't know after seeing him for several years, I watched him he was on the Clippers, he was on Phoenix. I didn't know he was this good a defender, on-ball defender as he is. He's an excellent, really high-level on-ball NBA defender. So when you bring all that to the table, now you got to make room for that. So he ended up getting a minimum deal, but he should be signing a longer term deal this off season. And then, of course, we talked about Alvarado coming. We talked about the Jordan Clarksons again. Jordan Clarkson, vet minimum deal, age 34. He wins a chip. So these little moves like this, or Jeremy Sohan, that's all the ancillary things. And every little move, the Sohans, the Diawaras, the Alvarados, they were made with the fit with the core in mind. Okay? And again, people don't think deep enough to understand that. It's fitting with your core. So you have your core pieces. Again, Bridges, Hart, Cat, JB, and OG. That's your core. Then you have now Mitchell Robinson. I don't think they understood until before this coming season that he needed to really come off the bench to preserve him for big games like he did in the closeout game. But Mitchell Robinson, Deuce McBride, you already had. Then you drafted a Tyler Kolek, and he might have been ready to come forward, but I think for insurance purposes, they went and got both Clarkson and Alvarado to make sure they had a solid veteran presence that could play in NBA playoff basketball on their bench, which they did. So now you have all of these players that have, and it's very big when a group wins together. Now, the only unhappy guy that I would think is a little unhappy, and that's unhappy players could stop you from winning another championship. That is Muhammad Diawara. It seemed to me that Diawara seemed to think he should have got more minutes as a rookie. He did play well, but it seems that in his mind he doesn't seem, it's not, people look at it as him being calm and unfazed, which is true, but I think he was a little disappointed. He thought he should have got more PT coming down the stretch and in the playoffs. But as I mentioned to you, what he doesn't understand because he's so young is the playoffs are a grown man's game. Okay, especially in the NBA. The playoffs are not for children, not for rookies to make their mistakes and learn from it. That's Dylan Harper. That's what, your Dylan Harpers of the world. Okay, but no, we need vets. That's why you had Alvarado there instead of playing over Tyler Kolek. Now, going forward to repeat, number one, bring the core back. Your first starting five plus Deuce, plus Mitchell Robinson, plus Landry Shamet. You must bring them back, okay? Then you got to make decisions. You got to decide, and I would not mind them bringing Kolek into the rotation this coming season. He has developed. He has worked hard. He's talented. And he could play the backup point or second behind Deuce and JB, or he could just play the backup point behind JB. You would have a very solid guy that has won a championship, and you used to him. He's used to you. He knows your system. So to me, to have a guy like that as your ninth guy, and this is the thing, people start throwing out names without throwing out where they're going to play or who they're going to play in front of. Kolek would play instead of Clarkson. That's where you would have Kolek. And I really believe now that if you give Kolek some more PT, where you were giving Clarkson the PT, he's going to shine, because I knew we all saw, well, not all of us, but a lot of us saw that his claim to fame coming into the league was his court vision and his passing ability. At Marquette, that's where we all saw that. I was watching him at Marquette and he was MVP of the Big East tournament, and we saw that he had that potential. That's what got him in the league. His ability to play defense kept him from playing, especially under Tibbs. But now he has learned how to play defense. I always felt like he had a really good jump shot, three-point shot, which is big in this team because of the attention your Brunsons and your Cats are going to get and your OGs are going to get. If you're going to get wide open looks, you can knock them down. He also showed the promise in the Emirates Cup. He was on the floor a lot when the Knicks beat the Spurs in the Emirates Cup. And so I'm thinking, you bring him back. You probably don't bring back Clarkson because you could use that money if you need to extend Kolek. You don't have to extend him. Another thing people don't understand, Kolek is under contract for next season. You don't have to extend him right now. So I don't think the Don will. But if he does, if you lose the minimum contract money you got from Clarkson, you could extend him. So that, and then the thing about Kolek is he's a savvy businessman type of dude too. If you listen to his testimony that he gave on the Roommate show a while back, he was talking about the money he was making. I think he was at James Madison. I think he started off at James Madison in Virginia, and then he went and got more NIL money at Marquette, and he made millions of dollars. So he's a slick dude. He's smart. He ain't no dummy. So I think he's going to know what his value is for the Knicks. So how can they repeat? Bring back the same core. Probably move up Kolek. A lot of people are going to be pushing to move up Diawara. Maybe during the course of the season they do that. I know that I feel very strongly that Diawara was well developed by the Knicks organization this past season. Many people don't understand that. There's a development process, and he went through it. Yes, 6'9", 7-foot wingspan, a steal the Knicks got in the second round with him. But he was a rookie. So now he's going into his second year. Yes, I think he's going to see some like he did last year, some spot starter minutes, but his development will continue. You don't want to push a kid you don't have to. You want to develop them the proper way. And so Diawara is in a good place. He's on a championship team. He's got veterans on his team that know how to play, grown men, and he needs to just learn from them. But you make Diawara part of your 10-man rotation, and that's the thing. You got Jose Alvarado too. So you got all of them, and Jose Alvarado is under contract for next season. See, so you got him under contract. You got Kolek under contract. We already know the core is all under contract. You just want to re-sign Mitchell Robinson, which they're going to do. Dolan's going to do that. And then you move on with life. So you might want to extend Deuce. He has proven himself. He's on a cheap deal. They asked someone, I was asking, what's the best contract in the NBA? He said Deuce McBride. It was a guy that don't even play for the Knicks. Deuce McBride. Because you're getting a whole lot of value for less than $4 million a year. And so even if you paid him $8 million a year, it would still be tremendous value. So that is the case. So they've all played together. You keep the band together. They've all played together, and now they have won together. So that's big. Bringing back a crew that's used to each other, and starts with the Villanova crew, who's way used to each other from college. They stick together like glue, no problem. And then you just added a cat, an OG, who's plug and play OG. And nobody has solved the cat problem. The San Antonio Spurs had help from the referees. Getting him in foul trouble is the only way to stop him. Okay, and every game this series except one, he was in foul trouble. And that's the referees, because a lot of them fouls wasn't cat making stupid fouls, if ref making stupid calls. Okay, so, and protecting Wemby. But you take that off the table, nobody in the league has solved the cat problem. Give him the basketball, everybody move off ball, and just let's go on with life. Nobody has solved that yet, and you're not going to solve it next year. If he's healthy, he's still in his prime. He'll be like 31 in November. You're still going to have a problem with him. So the Knicks can just move on with life until, and this is the thing, NBA's copycat league. When the Golden State Warriors was winning championships, everybody was trying to find a group of shooters. Boston did it, okay, and then they won their championship. Everybody became a three-point shooter, and they started, that was the trend. But there is really no trend you can copy from the New York Knicks. Because if they're going through Karl Anthony Towns, then you need a Karl Anthony Towns to copy them. Those guys don't grow on trees, okay? Joker is close. Robert is a different type of player. Gobert is a different type of player, defensive player, but he's not Karl Anthony Towns, okay? You don't really have a Karl Anthony Towns out there. You don't. So nobody can copy the Knicks. Okay, it's a difficult pattern to copy when you got a guy like that. And so that was the big thing of the Knicks making the deal to get him. It opened up the championship window officially, as I mentioned. And in year 2 of Cat era, you get a chip. You can get another one. Okay, so all you got to do is bring back the same crew, stay healthy. Mike Brown is smart enough. What I liked about Brown is the best that we thought could happen with him happened. In other words, Mike Brown had been a head coach with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He had been a head coach with the Lakers. Okay, he got fired from both of those. He had been a head coach with the Sacramento Kings, as we know. They had a great season, faded down the stretch. Next year, he was fired. Him and De'Aaron Fox did not get along. He had been an assistant coach under Steve Kerr and won a chip with the Golden State Warriors. He had a lot of experience, and he put it all together to help the Knicks win. And now he's smart, he's experienced, he knows what it's going to take to repeat. And the only thing that could really stop them is injuries. So if the Knicks stay healthy this summer, go into camp healthy, they're going to be tough to beat next year. They really are, because there's, like I said, there's very few teams. You got Wembanyama, you got Joker, really just them two. Chet Holmgren can't do what Cat could do. Wemby can put it on the floor. Cat, obviously, and Joker can put it on the floor. All of them can hit three-point shots. The difference is Wemby don't have no wind yet. He gets tired more easier than the other two. He gets tired more easier than the Joker, tired more easier than Towns. And no team except Oklahoma City has a backup 5 like Mitchell Robinson. See, you want to copy the Knicks, you got to get a starter that could be a point center. And then you got to have a backup 5 that's an offensive rebounding genius in Mitchell Robinson that could protect the rim. Very few teams have that. Oklahoma City has Chet Holmgren. They got Hartenstein, although they're not going to have Hartenstein coming up because Hartenstein's going to cost too much for them. That owner don't want to be paying that tax, especially since they didn't win this year. They won last year, okay, but that owner ain't going to pay that tax. His tax is going to be something like $180 million just to keep Hartenstein. And so they're not going to exercise that option. Hartenstein's going to be a free agent this summer, and he's going to be in demand, and he's going to get paid. Okay, now the Knicks can't do it. Some of y'all already, and this drives me crazy, you are so disloyal. You're already talking about dumping Mitchell Robinson to get Hartenstein. That's disloyalty to me of what Mitchell Robinson did to win this chip for y'all. Anyway, he's not coming to the Knicks. I would be surprised if Charlotte and Philly don't make a hard run. And to me, Philly's got to move Embiid, get Hartenstein in there, and then you got a team that could compete. Cleveland, unless they're giving up on Jared Allen, which I don't think they will, they shouldn't, and they're expecting another level from Mobley, which I thought was coming this year. It didn't. I don't think they're going to get him either. So you're really talking about Charlotte, who's been looking for a 5 for years now. Okay, they have built a really nice team through the draft. This is what you want when teams are losers and they get to draft high picks. Charlotte is what you're looking for. Detroit, where you get talent at the top of the draft, you develop that talent, and then you add important pieces like Oklahoma City did. They got Chet Holmgren, they got AJ Mitchell, they got talent guys. Then they turned Josh Giddey, another high pick. They turned him and traded him, okay, and ended up getting a championship piece, a defensive two-way player that they use. Then you got, of course, SGA through the trade, right? And then you got guys like Dort out there, Jay Will out there. Jay Will could be their backup 5, and he could shoot it. He's already shown that in the playoffs. So you got Holmgren, you got Williams. You're not gonna have Hartenstein, but there's very few people that can match the Knicks in that area. And that's important because we got Jalen Brunson. Why? You got to guard Cat. What you saw in the closeout game that the Knicks just did, even with Cat in foul trouble, the Knicks were getting one-on-one coverage between Wemby and Brunson. So that's without Cat. Cat's on the floor. That game would have been 4. It would have been a sweep. Okay? The refs kept Wemby and them in the game. The NBA did because they wanted the TV exposure. So the Knicks did a gentleman's sweep. If the orange guy didn't show up for game 4, they would have won that too. Okay, so the dominance of the Knicks, both 4-4-5. So the first against Atlanta, 6, right? Then 4-4, and then 5. Gentlemen sweep against the Spurs in the championship. The Knicks are dominant because nobody could figure out what to do to counter them except the refs. That's it. And going into next year, they still don't have a counter for the Knicks. You can't. If you double Cat, he's gonna kill you. If you do, JB gonna get one-on-one coverage. You don't have to see. Everybody's talking about two-headed monsters, but this is the one that fits. Then you still got cutters, Roadrunner, OG, Josh Hart. You still got that. You still got Mitchell Robinson coming off the bench. You still got Deuce McBride. You still got Landry Shamet. And you're going to have young Tyler Kolek coming up there. I think he's going to be the next guy. Then you still got Alvarado. You still got Diawara. The Knicks are deep. You know, really, during the course of a season, I would not be surprised if you've seen them play 11, 12 on a regular basis and win a lot. It ain't going to take half a season for them to figure it out now. They already got the formula. And there's no anti-formula yet. There's no counter-formula except the refs. That's it. So stay healthy. Bring the band back. Bring your youngins along. This summer, there's not going to be anything that comes up as far as I can see. There's going to be a lot of prospects. There always is between the draft, between the second round. Like I said, you give the Knicks second rounders, it's like giving teams first rounders because they find talent and they find it cheap. But there's not going to be no room for anybody. This is a championship team that we just talking about what the guys we got going 12 deep. So you're not going to find no new blood that's going to be able to break in. Okay? You're not going to find AJ, you know, we ain't nowhere near drafting the AJ. Okay? We're just not going to because we're the champs. So they're going to get 24, 31, and 55. AJ ain't there. Well, whoever team get AJ, it's going to be good because AJ is a difference maker. He's a young boy that can ball, okay? So you get him in there with whoever, it looks like, you know, he might, you know, he's going to be definitely top 5 pick. He's going to definitely be top 5. So I'm going to be going more into the draft, but it's not going to be as interesting because the Knicks are really not in it. But AJ, you might get AJ at Utah or Memphis. I could see Memphis. Looks like they're going to trade Ja. But if they keep Ja and they add AJ, oh man, the Bonsa is gonna be he's gonna be something, man. So him from BYU, you got Darrell Peterson, Cameron Boozer. I think Boozer, you know, he's good. I'm waiting to see if he's as good as his daddy was. His daddy was no superstar, but his daddy was a real solid power forward in the league. So Boozer is about 6'9.5", 6'10", very similar, but he's only 19 years old. So, you know, you got to let him develop a little bit. The boy, the Bonsa, is 19, but I think he's going to be one of them cats that's going to help a team move forward. You know, he's going to help a team move forward. But you got some good talent in the draft this year. They got the Knicks picking some kid named Alan Graves. I'm going to look more into him out of Santa Clara. Good thing about that is J-Dub came out of Santa Clara. So we'll see what happened. But the Knicks ain't picking in the first round. Listen to me again because some of y'all ain't going to catch it. The Knicks ain't picking in the first round. Yeah, they got the 24th pick. Watch them trade down. How do I know that? Because he's done it. The Don been doing this for years. Some of y'all just forgot about last year, year before. He's always trading down. The last first round pick we got was Pacone Daddy, and he ain't played. He's developing, but he ain't played. Okay? So that's another guy you might want to see come into camp next year ready to go. He should be, even though this is going to be his second year or his third year, he might want to do some summer league, sharpen his skills, show himself, show his development, and then come into the camp. Daddy is another guy. So I thought Daddy was on the bubble last year because if the Knicks was trying to make a trade, that was the chip trade that you used to get the trade done. He's a young talent. So, and then people talking about the expansion draft. Ain't no expansion draft. Y'all need to calm down with these stupid rumors. They're not doing expansion draft for a couple of seasons. We're not worried about protecting anybody right now. This is the year the Knicks could repeat. Just get the second chip then. I'm not calling it no dynasty. To me, dynasty means you got to win at least 3. Like Kobe and Shaq and the Lakers. They could have won 5, but they won at least 3. Or, of course, Michael Jordan and then won 3, and then another 3. That's a dynasty. But listen, 2 in New York, we had before. 70, 73, we had 2. Now we just got 1. I think we can get another 2. And in New York, that's like a dynasty. And just like the previous 2 that they won, they pretty much had the same team. They had Cassie Russell for one, didn't have him for another. They didn't have Jerry Lucas, then they got him later. So, there was changes, but it was pretty much your core was Reed, Frazier. You still had the core. Dean Meminger, you still had the core. Then later they went and got Earl Monroe for the second chip. But the Knicks got the core, just like that team does. They don't need to change anything. They just need to keep getting them ancillary pieces developed, and I'm sure they will. So how can they repeat? Bring the band back. Just make some slight changes. Like I said, bring Kolick up. Bring Diawara into getting some more minutes. You got Alvarado already. Keep it going. That's it. There's no Cat answer yet. There's no answer for the combination of point center Cat and then Mitchell Robinson coming off the bench, offensive rebounder extraordinaire. There's no answer for that. And then you got JB getting one-on-one. There's no answer for that. One-on-one? No, there's no answer. So the Knicks can repeat with the same squad. There's no copycat that you can do for this. It ain't like you can get a bunch of shooters and hit threes like they did in Boston to copy Golden State. Can't do it. There's not that many cats around. Can you find another Joker? It's hard. Very hard. Okay? You can get another Wemby with some more heart, more discipline. That ain't 22 years old. It's hard. No. You ain't gonna find that. So we can repeat because the window is open. This will be the year. This coming up here will be year 3 of Cat of a 4-year window. If we get 2 in New York, can you imagine? People be talking dynasty, but it won't really be a dynasty. But I'll take 2. And I know JB will take 2. McCollum already said it yesterday. You think he ain't playing for another chip? He is. See, we got Jalen Brunson. Don't ever bet against Jalen Brunson. All right, y'all. Enjoy your Tuesday. Enjoy the shine of this world championship. And yes, we don't need to go trading for all the players that are on your little, NY2K, whatever. We need to just keep our squad intact. Sign our guys. Stay healthy and move forward. Let's go get the second one. So.